Good afternoon. I would like to begin by acknowledging that we're gathered here on the traditional unceded territories of the Anishinaabe Algonquin peoples. I want to thank everyone for being here today, and I want to welcome everyone who has joined us today, Cabinet, caucus colleagues, law enforcement advocates for the policy that we're talking about. Je veux également reconnaître la présence de mon secrétaire parlementaire, Jacques Ramsey, and I want to thank Ruby Sohoda, Secretary of State for Combating Crime, and Brian Larkin, Senior Deputy Commissioner for the RCMP. With me here at the podium is my Cabinet colleague, Nathalie Provost, Secretary of State for Nature, as well as Robert Walsh, Chief of Cape Breton Regional Police Service. We will be hearing from them in a minute. I want to start by drawing your attention to the AR-15, specifically AR-15A2 Sporter Competition N-Bar. It is one of hundreds of AR firearm variants that we have banned. This weapon is derived from a weapon of war. It fires .223 Remington or .556 millimeter NATO caliber ammunition. It has the power to penetrate body armor, and a version of this weapon is associated with the deadliest mass shooting in Canadian history at Portapique, Nova Scotia in 2020. We know, and the vast majority of Canadians know, that this gun and ones like it had to be removed from our communities. Nous savons, et la grande majorité des Canadiens savent aussi, que cette arme et d'autres armes comme celle-ci doivent être retirées de nos communautés. During the election campaign, we committed to moving ahead with implementing an efficient gun buyback program for assault-style firearms, such as the AR-15s. Today, we're here to talk about our government's next steps in making good on that promise to Canadians. The Assault-Style Firearms Compensation Program provides a way for firearm owners to safely dispose of and or deactivate their assault-style firearm and receive compensation in return. This program is voluntary. Nobody is having their weapon confiscated. People who use rifles to hunt can still hunt. If you want to purchase a hunting rifle, there are 19,000 legal options available in the Canadian market. An AR-15 is not one of those options, nor should it be one of those options. The program has been running for a while now. The first round of buybacks for businesses closed the end of April of this year. Through that program, over 12,000 firearms were claimed and destroyed, with over $22 million in compensation given to businesses. Now we're moving to the next phase, the opening of the program to individual owners. We're starting with a pilot in Cape Breton, Nova Scotia, and I want to acknowledge the two MPs we have here from Cape Breton, Mike Calloway and Jaime Batiste. The goal here is to use the pilot to test the online portal and firearms collection process in collaboration with the Cape Breton Regional Police Service. We will also test the destruction of firearms with our external service provider, as well as our compensation payments to participants. Support from a dedicated call center will be available to all participants in both official languages. The application and key information will also be available in 7 Indigenous languages: Mohawk, Anishinaabe, Inuktitut, Cree, Algonquin, Dene, and Mi'kmaq. We want to be sure everything is working properly before we open the program nationwide later in the fall. For the pilot to be successful, we need strong partners, and we have one in Cape Breton Regional Police Service, and I want to invite Chief Walsh to say a few words. Chief.
Good afternoon, Minister Vananda-Sangari, Secretary of State Provo, Deputy Commissioner Larkin, Cape Breton members of Parliament Mike Calloway and Jaime Batiste, other parliamentarians and members of the media. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. I'm pleased to be here today on behalf of the Cape Breton Regional Police Service to collaborate with the Government of Canada on this pilot for the assault-style firearm compensation program. Police see firsthand the devastating impacts of gun violence, and we know the importance of removing these dangerous firearms from our communities. So we are pleased as a police service to be able to assist by providing a safe and secure process for firearms owners to voluntarily return firearms that the government has now prohibited for public safety. At the Cape Breton Regional Police Service, we have the capacity and the expertise to safely collect, verify, and secure the prohibited firearms identified in our area so that the government can test the elements of this program. We are a large enough organization to facilitate with no impact to our frontline service delivery. Liaising with gun owners and the government, we will provide feedback to ensure the program operates smoothly before opening Canada-wide. Testing their collection process with our police service gives the government an opportunity to work with a municipal partner as they prepare to collaborate with a number of non-federal partners across the country. This program is really a way to help lawful gun owners stay in compliance with the law. We see this as giving them an opportunity to surrender what they are no longer allowed to possess, to prevent criminal liability, and to demonstrate that this can be an effective process for removing dangerous firearms from our community without having to use extra police resources to go and seize them. Ultimately, this is about public safety and security of our communities and putting the protections in place to prevent further victimization and tragedy from gun violence. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. And I mentioned the Portapique massacre earlier. We all know that there have been other mass shootings in Canada perpetrated with these type of weapons. Il est important d'attendre quelqu'un qui sait exactement de quoi ces armes sont capables, pour quoi nous devons s'agir. Natalie Provost et mes collègues Natalie Provost et ma collègue au caucus et au cabinet. Elle a survécu à la tuerie de masse à l'école polytechnique en 1989. Depuis, elle milite avec détermination pour le contrôle des armes à feu. Natalie Provost, you know, is our caucus colleague and cabinet colleague. She has also survived the mass shooting at l'École Polytechnique in 1989. She has been a committed advocate for gun control ever since. I'd like to ask Natalie to say a few words. Merci.
Bonjour. Je peine à imaginer que je suis ici devant vous aujourd'hui comme membre du gouvernement qui annonce le début du programme de compensation pour les armes à feu. Je suis profondément émue et très, très fière. La dernière fois où j'ai pris la parole devant vous, c'est le 5 décembre 2024. Je ne savais pas que j'allais être candidate aux prochaines élections libérales, mais je savais que le gouvernement libéral serait capable de compléter ses promesses. Et c'est ce qu'on fait aujourd'hui en annonçant le projet pilote auprès des individus. Je veux remercier sincèrement la police de Cap-Breton qui s'inscrit dans ce projet-là et qui s'assure que ce qu'on va déployer va aller très bien. J'imagine que parmi vous, il y a plusieurs qui se demandent « Mais est-ce que c'est la fin de votre combat, Madame Provost? » Non. Il reste encore des choses à faire, je le sais et nous le savons tous, mais ce pas est fondamentalement important. En 1990, les étudiants de Polytechnique, les professeurs de Polytechnique, la société civile, les gens qui étaient touchés par le drame de Polytechnique ont déposé la plus grande pétition manuelle, parce qu'aujourd'hui c'est plus facile, la plus grande pétition manuelle jamais déposée qui demandait l'interdiction des armes de style d'assaut. Donc c'est un grand, grand combat qui tient à l'ensemble des Canadiens. Depuis toujours, depuis au moins 35 ans, on sait que ce type d'armes-là n'a pas sa place au Canada et aujourd'hui, on commence à les retirer de nos rues, de nos maisons. En 2020, quand le premier ministre Trudeau avait annoncé le premier décret qui interdisait une série d'armes, je me souviens que certains d'entre vous m'ont peut-être posé la question « Wow, c'est beau, c'est fini ». Non, je savais que non, parce que la piscine était pleine. Hein? On avait fermé le robinet pour en acquérir de nouvelles. Il fallait vider la piscine. Aujourd'hui, et c'est déjà commencé auprès des entreprises, on a commencé à vider la piscine. C'est une excellente nouvelle. In English, just a few words. I'm very proud to be part of the government who began this program. The last time I was in front of you, on December 5th, I knew that the Liberals were able to complete it, and I'm very proud to be part of it. And I have great confidence that with the initiative taken by the Nova Scotia Police and the Cape Breton Police group, we will be able to fulfill it. And please remind that Canadian, 70% in rural region, 80% in urban region, Canadian agree. They see like us. Students in 1990 with the society tabled a petition to say that they were for the ban of assault-style weapon. Today, in 2025, we are still going on and we will complete it. Thank you.
Thank you. Merci Nathalie pour votre leadership et votre collaboration. It will take more than this program to eliminate gun crime from our streets and communities. And we are committed to doing whatever is necessary to make our communities safer. You cannot be serious about being tough on crime if you're not willing to be tough on guns. This program is part of that solution. We know that, Canadians know that, and Canadians support us on this. Happy to take your questions.
Posted right after, I will have the
You don't seem to have
exposed
confidence in this
live,
program. Why
caught
not?
on
And
phone,
is it appropriate to
lying
stay on
and
as
Dan
public safety
Sangri.
minister?
I have
Everything
absolute
he's saying
confidence
right
in this
now
program.
is a
you can-
lie.
As you can tell,
And he broke the
I
law,
have
and we're
brought
gonna prove
forward,
it.
I'm making this announcement today in collaboration with my colleagues as well as Cape Breton Police.
If you could go back. You
If
said
I-
you're doing it because the
Saying
Prime
something that I will do differently is not saying that I don't have confidence in the program. What I suggested was, in order to do it differently, there's a lot of frustration amongst Canadians, amongst those who've been impacted, that this has taken far too long. So in terms of the process itself, we brought in the initial order in council in 2020, as you recall. There's another one in 2024 and another one March of this year. So my preference, and I will say this publicly, is that I would have preferred to have this done sooner. But I have absolute confidence in this program, and that's why I'm here
Why
implementing
did
it.
you say it was about Quebec? Why did you say moving forward was about Quebec?
The-
And that Quebec's different than the rest of Canada.
The Quebecers have been impacted by gun violence, by mass casualty events over a number of decades. My colleague here, who was in fact the coroner at the Dawson school shooting. We have another colleague who was impacted. She spoke about her experience at L'École Polytechnique. We know about the Quebec City mosque shooting. So this is a very live and real issue for Quebecers. It is also an issue for all Canadians, and that's why it is important that we're moving forward with the implementation of this program.
You said on the recording that you did not think that local police had the resources to enforce this. Why don't you think that? And what's the point of moving forward with it if you don't think it can be enforced?
Well, the context of that conversation, of course, it was in a context of a scenario that was offered to me, and it was commentary on that. In terms of the ability of police, I have every confidence that law-abiding citizens, first of all, will ensure compliance with the law. Secondly, I also have every confidence that law enforcement will be able to do their job and to ensure the implementation of the criminal code. Canada is a rule of law country, so if it is in the criminal code, it is imperative that police of jurisdiction are able to implement that law. I want to maybe ask Deputy Commissioner Larkin and Chief to be able to comment on this.
If you were saying that you hope Madame Provost, please. Madame Provost, merci. Ça fait 35 ans que vous attendez un programme comme celui-là. Vous disiez vous-même que vous êtes très ému. Ça vous fait quoi d'être ici aujourd'hui dans un contexte quand même particulier où votre collègue à côté de vous, de par ses propos peut-être maladroits, est en train de miner ce programme-là avant même qu'il soit mis sur pied. Comment vous vous sentez dans cette situation-là?
Je ne pense pas que mon collègue est en train de miner le propos. Je pense que mon collègue a été capté dans des contextes tout à fait particuliers d'une conversation privée à ses yeux. Formellement, tout le monde que vous avez ici aujourd'hui est en train de mettre en œuvre un programme et ceux qui comptent dans ce programme-là, c'est ceux qui vont le faire. Et la police de la Nouvelle-Écosse est derrière nous, la GRC est derrière nous, l'équipe de fonctionnaires qui est en train de réfléchir au programme, les stratégies sont en place et on va y arriver. Un programme ne tient pas seulement à une personne, il tient à une équipe et c'est en équipe qu'on est ici devant vous aujourd'hui.
Vous voyez toutes les questions aujourd'hui qu'on entend. Vous
Oui, je
voyez
les
ce qui
vois.
se passe en Chambre de la part des conservateurs.
Oui, je
le
les
programme semble complètement remis en question.
C'est
avant
pas le
même-
programme qui est remis en question ici aujourd'hui, Madame.
La carabine SKS n'est pas sur la liste. Comme militante de police se souvient, comme survivante aussi de Polytechnique, vous avez milité pour qu'elle le soit. Comment vous vous sentez aujourd'hui? Est-ce que c'est acceptable?
Je suis très consciente qu'il reste du travail à faire avec la SKS. Son histoire est une histoire tout à fait particulière. Et en mars déjà, on savait, lorsqu'il y a eu le 3e arrêté en Conseil, la ministre Bendayan, à l'époque, nous avait dit qu'il restait encore du travail et de la réflexion. Ce travail et cette réflexion-là continuent. Soyez sans crainte, je reste vigilante parce que je suis très consciente qu'il faut qu'il y ait une position qui soit adoptée par rapport au SKS, compte tenu du type d'arme que c'est, mais on doit considérer l'ensemble du dossier.
Est-ce que c'est une ligne rouge pour vous, le SKS?
Qu'est-ce que c'est? Vous...
Bien, dans le sens que
Il faut absolument un programme
ça
qui...
fait pas partie de la liste, à un moment donné, vous allez peut-être quitter le gouvernement Carney?
Bon, j'en suis pas là. Je pense qu'il faut que pour qu'on complète tout ce qu'on a à compléter, et le rachat, pas le rachat, pardon, mais la compensation n'est qu'un des éléments. Il y a d'autres choses qui restent à faire et je le sais, le SKS en fait partie et il en fera partie.
Police se souvient envoyer ce matin un...
Can you just repeat in English what your reaction was to hearing that recording? And what does it mean for public confidence in this program moving forward?
La confiance sorry. A program like that needs a team, needs a group, not just one person. And you see it today. We are all here together with the minister because we believe that it has to be done and that the solution we find in the specific context we have is the right solution for the context. So I'm really happy that we go forward, and I really thank from the bottom of my heart the Cape Breton Police that they are doing it and make it sure that it will work swiftly right after.
So-
Voluntary. How is this you say that the program is voluntary, but after the amnesty ends, the people are not in compliance with the law. So how is this truly voluntary?
So Canadians, starting in Cape Breton today, will be able to enroll in the program, be able to get compensated if they were to turn their firearm in, or they will be able to get compensation if they deactivate and confirm that it's deactivated with a certificate. So it is strictly voluntary. Nobody is being forced to undertake the buyback program. Well, the expectation is that they will comply, and the order in council, as you know, is being extended from this October to October of 2026. So there is a one-year window. Our expectations is that law-abiding citizens will abide by the law, and beyond that, the police of jurisdiction is tasked to, as you know, implement the criminal code.
If Canada is
May I just-
a rule of law, why did you offer to pay someone the difference in compensation and bail them out of jail? You're a minister. Why'd you say that?
Let's maybe put this in context. This was a private conversation with an individual that I've known for many years. I said these two issues frankly, in bad humor, that is being misinterpreted. It is very clear that there was a private conversation. It is with someone, it is an acquaintance.
You told you
Well,
now, or should we believe what you said on the phone?
Well, first of all, it's not the phone. It was in the context of a private conversation in person. What is important is that if you look at it in context, that was not a serious attempt. It was a bad attempt at humor on my part. It was in no way to suggest that they will either I will bail them out or otherwise. That is not.
Is this something to do humor about? Is it a subject you should do humor about?
Let's look at the context of it. It was a 20-minute conversation, and as part of the conversation, in a private setting, it was a range of issues that we discussed. So it is humorous.
If you want to say one thing in private and one thing different in public.
Your intention was to see that this program moved along quicker, and what we have today is maybe, hopefully, 200 guns in Cape Breton. Have you not failed at the task of getting this moving faster?
Absolutely not, because we need to test the system that we have for individual gun owners. The next 5 to 7 weeks is a test period. It will enable us to go through the glitches. In fact, I did the enrollment last week as a trial run, and I came up with some suggestions to improve it. Those improvements were done. What we anticipate is feedback that we get with Cape Breton. We will be able to strengthen and make it a better program overall.
Madame Provost, juste une dernière question. Madame Provost, est-ce que vous faites ce programme seulement pour le Québec?
J'étais pas présente lors de la conversation, donc le titre disait que c'était juste pour le Québec, le titre de l'article du Toronto Star. Ce programme-là s'adresse à tous les Canadiens parce que tous les Canadiens veulent que les armes de style d'assaut sortent de leur rue. C'est une mesure importante de sécurité publique et tous les Canadiens la souhaitent.
Mark, you want to answer the question?
Have you had a conversation with the Prime Minister since the recording came out? Do you still have his confidence to continue in this job?
I have the confidence to be able to bring this forward today. I have confidence from my colleagues that are standing with me. The Prime Minister gave me a mandate to execute on the compensation program, and this is exactly what we're doing today.
And if the pilot project is not a success, will you keep going forward?
We are looking at the pilot project overall as a way to gauge any systemic issues that we may have in terms of glitches that we'll have in the registration. We are quite we are resolved and confident that the program will go forward.
Gun owners who are saying they're not getting enough money for their guns, and that might be a deterrent for them to hand back their guns.
Well, ultimately, these are not brand new guns. So we have worked with many organizations to come up with a fair assessment of the value of the gun that is being turned in, and that is the compensation that will be going forward to the individual who applies for the compensation.
Yes, how much in total are you mass shootings? Why haven't you banned it?
And thank you for the question, and I think Natalie answered in part. And look, we understand the concerns over the SKS. We will continue advancing the work with experts on the weapons classification, and that is taking place as we speak. This includes consultations, particularly with Section 35 rights holders, many Indigenous communities where for their livelihood, as part of their way of life, hunting is very much central to their way of life. So it is important that we respect those traditions, and as we have considerations around the SKS, we ensure adequate and appropriate consultations with Indigenous people.
If you go over the $742 million budget, how much are you willing to spend on this program to collect all these guns?
Well, the mandate we have right now is the funds that were available through previous budgets. So just to note that not a single dollar is coming from the current budget cycle. The last budget year was 2023-24 as part of the fall economic statement in 2024. And the program itself is being rolled out with existing resources, so no new funds are coming in. In terms of the program itself, look, there's roughly 180,000 registered firearms users or registered firearms that are subject to the prohibition. So we anticipate a fairly high uptick. We will assess the situation as it evolves. Cape Breton is the starting point for us, but we will continue to assess, and we will have continuous monitoring of the uptake of the program, and we will assess it at that point.
Est-ce qu'on a une dernière question en français, s'il vous plaît?
Peut-être pour Mme Provost, parce qu'elle est en français, mais à quel point c'est vraiment volontaire si au terme de la période d'amnistie, la personne est susceptible d'accusation si elle ne remet pas son arme?
Est-ce qu'ils veulent participer au programme? Il faut qu'ils lèvent la main. Donc, ils ont un acte de volonté à faire. Mais il y a une chose qui est claire. Avoir ce type d'arme-là entre ses mains après l'amnistie, c'est un acte criminel. Donc, volontairement, s'ils veulent participer, ils ont qu'à lever la main et on va les suivre.
Oui, sur les mots. Hein.
Est-ce que vous allez avoir les ressources policières parce que si quelqu'un a une arme qu'il garde chez lui, à un moment donné, est-ce que vous allez envoyer des policiers à chaque maison pour les récupérer?
Aujourd'hui, si dans sa maison, quelqu'un, parce qu'il a des intentions malhonnêtes, a une arme prohibée, les policiers ne cognent pas à toutes les portes de toutes les maisons. Donc, il est possible, oui, qu'après le programme, il y ait des gens qui choisissent de garder chez eux des armes prohibées. Mais ces gens-là commettent un crime. Right now, in Canada, there's some people with bad intentions who have in their house prohibited or non-restricted or restricted weapons without fair licensing. But the policeman is not knocking at every door to check what is in the hand of each Canadian. They are seized when they are moved, when there's an event. So it would be the same. But all of the people in possession of one of the weapons that has been banned since 2020 and will not participate in the compensation program will have an illegal gun in its possession, and that's a criminal act.
All right, thank you very much, everyone.
I would like to know why you say 185.
So, in other words, it isn't voluntary. It is gun confiscation. Another point. None of the police organizations, including the RCMP, are behind this. They've all come out and said it will not make a single difference in the crime rate. And she is completely loony. That would be Nathalie Provost. She has no idea what she's talking about, and she just lied. Because legal gun owners aren't the ones committing crimes. Until now, when anybody who owns a firearm that looks scary is now a criminal. So let's just expose Andanganasari, the Tamil supporter, and the whole gun buyback program. In fact, this should be spread far and wide because he has broke at least 4 laws in this recorded phone call.
Hey guys, it's Tracy and it is Sunday. I am coming to you today with some audio clips of the minister talking about the impending announcement on Tuesday where they will be launching the confiscation buyback program. I'm going to overlay the audio onto this video, so hopefully you're able to hear it. I'm going to give it a try. It is a little difficult to set up, and I'm trying to figure this out on my own because it's Sunday. Everyone's off today, so I'm just trying to make this work. I also apologize for my appearance. We blew up our hot water tank on Friday, so it's been a fun showerless weekend over here. My hair is struggling. Okay, let's start this off with the minister talking about launching the buyback this coming Tuesday. Get ready for it.
That are out of our control. I got to tell you something else. You may not be happy with it. We're launching a gun buyback on Tuesday. Yeah. We're not adding anything to it. Okay?
So he says they're not adding anything to it, but it will be launching on Tuesday. Now he's going to go on to talk about how it's voluntary. He's going to discuss deactivation, compensation. There will be no compensation for parts, and he admits that gun owners are going to lose money. So let's continue.
You'll be tagged. You already took everything. What is that? You already taken everything. And I thought it was voluntary. It is voluntary. So let me ask you this. Yeah. So if it's a voluntary buyback, yeah. Some people call it confiscation. Yeah. So I have a couple of options. My option is to go have it deactivated at my cost. You'll get compensation for that. Okay, so I'll get compensation for deactivation. So I basically have a firearm that would never be able to be used again. So basically a ornament. Okay. Two is to turn it into the federal government. Yeah. Or whatever agency. Yeah, who's collecting? It's going to be a collection agency as well. Right? Yeah. Right. For what compensation? So what's written in? So let's say one of my ARs. They're giving me. I don't recall the value. I think it's around $1,200. Yeah. Somewhere about there. But I have receipts where I purchased it at a far greater cost. And I have other receipts for maybe I've changed the bull carrier group or a trigger and things like this. There's no compensation for that. No, not for that. We're just saying this is the blanket. Yeah. What you're getting. It's not a flat fee though. It's not a flat compensation, right? It's not like it's $400. It's every model. They make a model has a dollar value. Yes, exactly. So like my SIG, and 400. I think it's around $1,200. Yeah. But I paid like $2,400 for it, or $2,200 let's say. So I'm still losing money. Probably, right?
Probably.
The idea is.
So there you have it. You will be losing money on this stuff, and he doesn't seem to really care about that. We're going to skip ahead here. So this person talking to the minister is pretty upset about the cost of his firearms and how he's going to be losing money. And the minister offers to pay him personally for what he's out.
Are running around at TPS and every police force in Canada is spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars, in prosecuting people, investigating people that are on the legal side. I get it. If I get a piece of paper going to my gun range, I can be 5 years in prison for a piece of paper. These guys, I hate to say it with the catch and release policies, these guys are caught, right? Might spend a couple days in jail.
He agrees.
Get a bail hearing. I know they don't. But you're taking stuff away from people that aren't the problem. Yeah. Listen, it's voluntary. Okay, that's the only thing. It's not voluntary. Yeah. So what's the third option? So I deactivate. I turn them in. What's the third option? Third option is you don't do either. And? Then what does that make me become? Then it's up to the local police. So then what's that make me become? Yeah. What's that? A criminal? If police enforce it, yes. Well, of course the police are going to enforce it. Because you're going to mandate. Well, it's already in the criminal, it's there. It's already written in the criminal code. Yeah. So you're saying is if I don't deactivate or return them at a loss, I'm going to be in your case, whatever your losses you tell me, I'll personally. It's not the point. I'll get no,
Hey man, don't shoot a gift horse in the mouth. He's going to pay for your firearms. Like, I don't know. But I get it. Gary struggles because he doesn't know a lot about the file because he's not an expert. Here, he'll tell you himself.
Right. I have to say, whoever that conservative guy was when you're in the house and you reverse enroll it. Yeah, that was bad. I know that. I know, but it's 3 weeks on the job, man. I've never. What do you know about the system now? If you don't mind me asking. I know a lot more. I'm
stuff.
not an expert on this, right? I'm not an expert.
No,
so. I understand.
No, you're definitely not an expert, Gary. Okay, we're going to flip ahead here. He's going to talk about the pilot project where they're going to start doing the confiscations in Cape Breton. Let's give that a listen. Sorry.
Or suicide. Absolutely, it happens. And it happens, doesn't matter what it is. Whether it's a van, whether it's a firearm, whether it's a knife. People with mental health issues will do things. Yeah. But you're going to roll out this confiscation, I'm going to call it, on Tuesday, like you said. And what's the timeline? It's a pilot in right? Cape Breton, right?
Okay.
And then
Look at Will Police Force said yes to it.
Yeah.
But the OPP said no.
yeah,
Toronto Police said no.
Toronto Police hasn't said anything yet.
So they're still looking for partners to help them, but as you know, Cape Breton has signed on to a deal. I'm going to flip. Whoops, I've gone too far here. Yeah. So I'm going to flip to this part here where the minister talks about, you know, look, at this point, he just wants to get it done. Going forward, things will be different. They'll work on bail reforms and stuff. So here you go.
So, as the Minister of Public Safety, what do you think may have done better? I mean, it's being rolled out today.
Look, I'll tell you, if I were to redo this from the beginning, like I'm picking up where it was left off, right? And
But you have the power
that's
to roll it back.
But this is the mandate I was given by Carney to complete this.
Yeah, you guys look like fools rolling, like stepping back.
And not revisit this.
Sure.
That's my objective, right? Just to put an end to this and move on with other additional criminal justice tools, including on bail, including on increasing penalties for people who have illegal and unlicensed firearms. So a range of things that we're already going to be doing. But this is just not new. This has been.
So did you hear that? If he had it to do all over again, he admits he inherited a shitty Trudeau-era policy. And if he had it to do all over again, he would focus on criminals with illegal guns. But we're not there, are we? Instead, you're focusing on us. It's the lack of self-awareness here is incredible. He's going to go on to talk about the only reason they're doing it is because it was a campaign promise. He blames Quebec for this, which I assume he's talking about the Quebec caucus, and we know who sits on that. And then going forward, it'll be a change from the divisive Trudeau-era policies. Listen to this.
Happening over a decade.
I'll tell you, the going forward, it'll be a different approach. Okay, this is completing something that was started 5 years ago. That frankly,
but as the minister, you can sit down with Mark and say, "Listen, Ms. Levine, we need to address these core issues."
We've had all these conversations. Like I've had for the last 4 months. It's been like constant discussions on this to see what's next, right? And the conclusion is let's finish this because we committed to it in the campaign.
They're just going to finish it because they committed to it. Not because it's good policy, not because it'll bring public safety, increase public safety, not because it'll save lives. It's going to cost an incredible amount of money, but because they promised it, they're going to do it.
Campaign promises have always been broken in the past.
I know.
So why must you go through on this one?
Look, just say it. Sean, the Quebec, you know what's wrong? Quebec, for example, is in a very different place in Ontario. Right?
We're talking about Canada. It's federal. This is not provincial.
I get it. Quebec is in a different place than other parts of Canada, right? And this is something that very much a big deal for many of the Quebec electorate that voted for us, right? And that's one of the major things. I think it's. I'm sure you've seen these articles where people said, this is one of the things we should not execute, like as a.
Yeah, drop it.
Change from Trudeau's policies, but we've made the decision to go ahead.
So there you have it. He knows full well they should drop this. He's been reading those articles, but they've talked about it, and because of the pressure coming out of the Quebec caucus, they're going to march forward with it and blow upwards of, well, we're going to talk about the money here in a minute because you're going to be shocked at what he says about that. So let me just forward to that part. First, here's where he talks about how things are going to get better with him in the future. He talks about non-compliance, and he even says that if the guy he's talking to gets charged and put in jail, he's going to pay his bail to bail him out.
Is that going forward, we'll have much better.
No, you're going to turn me into a criminal here because I'm not going to turn mine in. I'm telling you right now. I refuse it.
Yeah. And that's fine. Look, I'm not going to argue with you.
You just send the police to my house.
I'm not going to send the police to you.
Well, no, but the police will come to my house at some point because what's registered, they know who I am.
Yeah.
They know where I live. They know where they are. They're locked up in my safe.
Yeah.
I'm going to refuse to hand them in.
Right.
They're going to come in, rip open my safe, right? Take those firearms, put me in handcuffs.
I doubt very much it's going to go that far.
Absolutely, it's going to go. Because when you've given a mandate as the minister that these firearms were no longer allowed to be in these people's possession.
Yeah.
And you have.
Okay, I will come and bail you out if that happens.
You don't want to come bail me out?
I will. You call me.
I don't want to be bailed out, Jerry. Now I have a criminal record.
So did you hear that? He's like, man, I don't think it'll go that far. You're probably not going to get arrested. And if you do, I'll bail you out.
No, now I have a criminal record. Are you going to pardon me?
I don't know the part to do that, but
yeah, I'm going to have a criminal record. Which means I'm going to lose my job.
Sean, it's not going to go that far. Let's be frank about it.
Well,
right?
I don't know here.
I just don't think municipal police services have the resources to do this.
Well,
right? I think you're right.
How many billions of dollars in debt are we? Right? We're just going to keep adding to the debt. How much do you guys think this is going to cost?
Okay, so did you hear what he said? The Minister of Public Safety just said, nah, I don't think it's going to go that far. Nobody's going to get arrested. The municipalities don't have any resources to actually enforce this. So, okay, let's hear what he says about money. How much is it going to cost? And you're going to be shocked at this.
Realistically,
the budget for this was $742 million.
742, $742 billion.
That was the budget.
That's their budget.
Yeah.
So let's double it. Let's be honest.
No, it won't go that far. We're capping it. That's it. We're not.
So hear that? He just said we're capping it. So when the funds for the buyback program have been exhausted, you get nothing. Let's listen.
Oh, so let's say, so you take the firearms you said, was it New Brunswick?
Yeah.
You start with them. You start with them at whatever the cost that is.
Yeah.
And you work across the country, however way you want to roll the program. I mean, Alberta, Danielle, she's really telling you to go F yourself.
Yeah.
At one point you say, okay, at $750 million, then you say, okay, we ran out of money, so we'll take yours, but you guys can still take yours.
It's a capped buyback, right?
Capped.
It's voluntary.
It's not voluntary.
It's voluntary. Okay?
How is it voluntary? I do not want to give it to you.
Okay, then that's your prerogative, right?
No, but the consequence, if you are not following your directive, I have to go to jail.
If you want money back,
I don't want money back. I want what I legally can own, that I've been able to use for years. I have no issues with the regulations surrounding them.
Yeah.
So
let's look at my AR.
Yeah.
Okay, so they get into a conversation about what he owns and whatever, but we'll move on. This part right here. So he's asked what he would do differently if he had the ability.
Listen, if I told you, if I were to redo this one, from scratch, right? I would have a very different approach to this.
What do you think you should implement? If you could start from scratch, what would be the first thing you would do?
What I would do is, it's going to happen. Fraser's already working on it, right? So I think on firearms, possession without a license, illegal firearms that we're talking about. Anyone caught with it or caught close to it should face jail time. Right.
So there you go. If he had this to do over again, he would not be targeting legal gun owners. He would be focusing on putting people in prison who have illegal guns and commit the violence. So tell me again that this isn't ideologically driven, straight from the minister's mouth.
So there you have it. But we're not done. I want to finish off by giving some advice from somebody whom I respect and admire greatly. She's passed away now, and the world is a lesser place without her voice. But let's just take it right from, well, somebody who knows exactly what not to let the government do. I give you Kitty.
We also had gun control. The government said that children were playing with guns, and we had hunting accidents, people accidentally shooting each other, and we had criminals again, murderers. The only way that they could track the murderer was by the serial number of the gun. So bring your gun to the police station, then we can register the serial number and we can track the criminal. And we thought that was a good idea. Mm-hmm. So gladly we did that. Not long afterwards, they said no, it did not help. We could not track all the criminals. The best way to have no more crimes and no more people getting hurt, bring your guns to the police station, and they already know who had guns because we registered our guns. Keep your guns and buy more guns and stack up on your ammo. A gun is no good if you don't have any ammo. Dictatorship did not happen overnight. It took 5 years, from 1938 until 1943, we had a full-blown dictatorship. Had we kept our guns, we would have fought a bloody battle to the last men and women to keep our freedom. But we had no guns. A classic example is, in Switzerland, it is law that everybody has to have a gun. And Hitler took every country in Europe except Switzerland. And Switzerland did not have a war for more than 600 years. Hitler never tackled Switzerland. So keep your guns. Keep your guns.
Words of advice from somebody who knows. And what is it taking Canada to fall into the socialist, now pretty much fascist government? 10 years. And with the help of propaganda, they remain in power. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, this is Alias Tagai. You've been watching the Canadian Citizen Journal. Stay informed.